In our last episode, we found a pre-war communist base underground beneath the White Spring. But more importantly, we retrieved some Chinese stealth armor that Jen can use to help get past the laser grid inside Vault 79. We are one step closer. Now we can head back to Paige to find out what's next.
So I saw Jen and Penny are working on that stealth tech. Guess it's time we talked about those laser turrets, huh? The blueprints don't exactly list the spec sheet, but there's a lot of install ports and wide open space. Penny started calling it the Grim Reaper's Hallway. I had to reach out to some specialists who've been shadowing us since the pit. They've agreed to meet, but they want to talk to you first.
This is why I'm in charge. You never seem to seal the deal, Paige.
Yeah, well, you go be the big hero then. I've got shit to do.
Who are they? Why do they want to talk to me?
I don't know. Something about mission protocols. They seem like ex-military to me, but I haven't exactly checked their records. Just be careful.
We can use all the help we can get.
Foundation
All right,
and those raiders
just so you know,
just don't get
these
along.
people are,
They want to take everything
rigid
we've worked
when it
for.
comes to how they contact each other. They have this whole signaling thing they do. I'm gonna mark a spot on your map. Go there and wave the flag. The old stars and stripes. That'll let them know you're the one. They'll tell you what to do from there.
Maybe I should drag you along to sing the National Anthem while we're at it.
You can't handle my dulcet voice. Get out of here.
With that, we complete the quest Invisible Ties, get a huge dose of Foundation reputation, and begin the quest Duty Calls. A specialist is needed to bypass Vault 79's turrets. Paige sends us to the outskirts of Valley Galleria. Just north of the mall, we find an outdoor seating patio with a platform overlooking the river. On the platform is some machinery with a drive-in movie speaker and a bunch of conduits connected by wires. Here we find an American flag. This is the signal. Once we wave it, the specialists who have been stalking Paige will contact us.
Vault Dweller, we see your signal. Make your way due north towards the hill. You'll see a concrete bunker. We will be watching your approach carefully.
This appears to be part of some pre-war army compound or way station, now partially sunken. Crossing the water towards the other side, we have to kill a number of blood bugs. Upon reaching the other side, we find a signal tower emblazoned with pre-war military insignia. The tower itself is empty, a bit of scrap, one wooden container. We find an armored vehicle just outside with an ammo canister in it, and following the wires from the conduit leads us up a staircase and to a bunker, also emblazoned with U.S. Army. This is the Ransacked Bunker, a place we explored before Wastelanders. And at that time, all of this U.S. Army insignia didn't exist. Someone has moved in, and they've been decorating. On the other side of the door, we find sandbags and barricades, an ammo canister, lots of loose scrap, a first aid kit on the wall, and in a trash can, Jeremiah's journal, page 4. This is part of the pre-Wastelanders lore that was here, and it used to be on the desk. Whomever moved in chucked it in the trash can. That's it, I gotta get out of here. I caught wind of a strange transmission cutting in and out over my radio, and I think the feds might have found me. Time to leave this place behind before they can track me down and lock me up. I ain't no man's guinea pig, and I sure as hell can't put up with no torture. I got the essentials packed and my shotgun loaded. Think I'll aim for over the mountains. Might not be so bad that ways if they blocked any of the fallout. I can check on my old moonshine shack and see if she's still standing. Oh, well, now I know the owner of the moonshine shack just south of Vault 76. This Jeremiah. Heading down the stairs, we can open a door at the end of the hallway. We enter a small room and we find some soldiers? They stand at a table covered in a map of Appalachia. They've been drinking beer, and stabbed into the map is a Bowie knife. The man standing at the head of the table is Captain Fields.
Oliver Fields, Captain, United States Army. Now that we got the pleasantries out of the way, I have one question for you. Why the hell are you planning on stealing America's gold reserve? Uncle Sam not give you enough hugs and kisses while he was keeping you safe in that vault?
You're the U.S. Army? Where have you all been?
We've been heading back down from up north. Before you ask why it took so long, take a long, hard look at your day-to-day in Appalachia. It's nice here. You've got it so good that I'd have wanted my mama to retire here. Giant bats. Boo-hoo.
Hey, in case you didn't notice, America's over. Kinda got bombed.
Don't you know a lick of history from before the war? We've always been forged in fire. Maybe we got a bit burnt this time, but I can't believe it's the end.
We want to use the gold for a new currency. Create a real economy.
World ends, and suddenly every Tom, Dick, and Mary thinks they're in charge. What makes you so special, huh?
We can pass a charisma check to say, honestly, I'm not special. I'm just someone trying to follow orders. Just like you, am I right?
The orders of your overseer, huh?
And we find many other options here, most of which are unlocked based on the side quests and other progress we've made in the game. I know what happened to Lieutenant Taggarty and her U.S. Army Rangers.
We were in contact with them before. Lieutenant Taggarty seemed like a fine soldier. Then they just kind of dropped off the radar. That's part of why we decided to head down this way. It was pure coincidence that we ran into the civvies that Paige has pulled together. We already confirmed that they're all dead or missing. But we appreciate you trying to bring us that news.
I'm a member of the Enclave. We are the government.
You joined up with that Modus guy, huh? He contacted us when we started poking around here. Thompson, what did you say he reminded you of?
I said he reminded me of the Galaxy News radio announcer, but, obviously evil, sir.
I command Appalachia's nuclear arsenal. I am become Death, destroyer of worlds.
Seems to me that a lot of people around here have access to that arsenal. It's a fact that I'm not overly fond of.
I'm the mayor of Watoga, the city of robots.
Oh yeah, we came through there. Thompson, aren't you the mayor too?
Not today, sir. It only lasts for a day.
I am a fire breather, the elite scorched hunter unit for the responders.
I don't know what the responders or the fire breathers are, but hunting those scorched seems vitally important and dangerous. Since we're both defenders of the people, in a manner of speaking, maybe you'll level with me.
I'm the last member of the Order of Mysteries.
And I'm the king of the moon.
As in the Mistress of Mysteries? Do you have the Blade of Bastet? The Voice of Set? Ah, the Eye of Ra!
Sergeant, stand down.
Yes, sir. Hey, let's talk later.
I'm a fellow soldier, private, first class.
Did you enlist before the vault? Where's the rest of your unit? Where did you serve? I have so many questions, but I guess there's no time.
I'm a survivor of Vault 76, on a mission from the Overseer.
Oh, we've heard of 76. You people are all over.
Or we could pass a strength check to say, I'm ready to knock your jaw off, that's who I am.
You came here looking for my help, but you seem like a person with a mission. So let's hear it. Do you know what your Vault's primary mission was? Not the Rebuilding America bull, the real mission.
We can lie and say, we're training attack hamsters. They died tragically.
Careful, you'll upset Lucky with that. He hates rodents.
Lucky is the big dog sitting over here. He doesn't seem to mind. Well, what are you talking about?
You know, the experiment that your Vault was running. Like the jukeboxes can't be turned off and all they do is play Butcher Pete all day, every day.
Or a vault that doesn't include any food.
Bad guy, dog.
No, that really is our mission. My mission.
I guess there's one born every minute. I know about the nukes your people are unleashing. That's not rebuilding shit. I also know that not all of you are participating in it, though. So I'll give you the benefit of the doubt for now.
Our Overseer was supposed to secure Appalachia's nuclear missile silos.
That sounds in line with Vault-Tech's MO. I'm sure they didn't bother checking if that's okay with the Pentagon. All right, people, what do we think of this Vault Dweller? Radcliffe, Thompson, Lucky?
I mean, I give anyone who doesn't shoot it as bonus points, so checks out to me.
Yeah, holds up with everything we were able to recon. Paige wasn't lying, at least.
All right, looks like you passed the test. Now let's talk about this Vault 79 you're so keen on breaking into.
Oh no, let's keep playing 20 questions. Why don't you ask me if I'm bigger than a bread box?
Because we can all see that you are, especially your head and your ass. Luckily, Paige gave us enough info to ID the problem.
There's a battery of high-end turrets we need to get past.
Oh, we know all about them. Luckily, Paige gave us enough info to ID the problem. Sergeant Radcliffe, you want to take it from here?
we're dealing with Robco's semi-autonomous immobile weapon platform, only used for special government procurement. Extra thick ballistic shielding, plus reflective paneling, and internal temperature regulation. Even has built-in air fresheners. But can your new buddy Radcliffe beat him? Of course he can. Just need a little help from the source.
Let me guess. All three of you are gonna sit around while I do all the work. Is that it?
No, I'm gonna meet you there and hold your hand. Fields and Thompson are gonna sit around here and do nothing.
Rude.
Yes, but not inaccurate.
Anything you need, just tell me.
Seeing as we have a good feeling about you, I say we work together on this one. You and I are going to meet up at the Robco Research Center down near Watoga. See if we can find the equipment I need to bust through those turrets. And we better hope we do, because my only backup plan is politely asking the turrets not to shoot us. And that never goes well.
How do you know so much about turrets?
Because I'm criminally overdue for a promotion?
What can you tell me about Robco?
The high points are that it's a facility full of people who were smart enough to know better, but somehow didn't. You know how sometimes their robots go nuclear when damaged? That's by design. That's on purpose. Think about that. Most were made for civilian use. In what world does that make sense? A fucked up one.
Great, a comedian. Try not to get us both killed.
What, do I need to politely ask you not to shoot me too? I'm not going to knowingly endanger either of us, don't worry. Especially not myself.
All right, Redcliffe, I'll see you there.
It'll be fun. Forget the theme parks. There's nothing like scavenging a research center.
With that, Captain Fields, Sergeant Thompson, Sergeant Radcliffe, and Lucky walk around the bunker a bit. We can try to chat with each of them, and they each have idle chatter.
Has anyone seen my readers? Oh, hang on, never mind. They're in my pocket. Come on, just make the best of it, people.
Nobody let Lucky out by himself. I could have sworn I saw a big old set of red eyes outside just a bit ago. We need to make another supply run. Lucky and I went last time. Unpacking can wait.
This place is disgusting, Captain. What's that smell?
On the wall, we find a blackboard. They've been writing something. Professor Blank, scribble, me, scribble? If this has any significance, it's hard for me to interpret. On this top level, we find a bunch of scrap, some edible goods in the kitchen, a tinkerer's workbench beneath a pre-war American flag, and a pile of junk by some lockers. In the junk pile, we find Jeremiah's journal, page 2. I heard over the radio that Raleigh's called an all clear. He thinks it's finally safe to leave the bunkers. I've been thinking of my next move. It looks like the devils worked this place over real good. Swamp water, red vines, creatures I ain't ever seen in my life. I knew the government was using the war as some wild cover-up for some experimenting they wanted to do, but this is beyond what I even imagined. Ain't none of us safe out here now with what they've done. So Jeremiah was a member of the Free States. The all clear he's referring to is something we learn about while exploring the Free States quest line during the primary quest. So this was one of the Free States bunkers, inhabited by Jeremiah, abandoned by Jeremiah, ransacked, and reclaimed by the pre-war U.S. Army. This part of the Foundation questline raises a lot of weird questions. We already know from established Fallout lore that after the bombs dropped, the U.S. government, aside from the members of the Enclave who moved underground, lost all of their structure. as did the US military. That's what allowed Roger Maxson on the West Coast to bring the remnants of the US military together and form the Brotherhood of Steel. And we learn from Fallout 76 that even the continental United States wasn't a barrier to him. Using satellites, he managed to contact Elizabeth Taggarty here in Appalachia and recruit them into the Brotherhood. But I guess we must presume from this part of the quest that there were many other parts of US military that had been cut off from command by the nuclear apocalypse, and instead of just dispersing and trying to survive, they stuck together as a unit for over 2 decades, as these guys demonstrate. But doing what exactly? These guys were in Pittsburgh. After all, we know that the settlers from Foundation came from the pit, the ruins of Pittsburgh. And Page told us that these specialists, these U.S. servicemen, had been following them since then. Why would remnants of the U.S. military, whom Roger Maxson apparently hadn't contacted yet, be tracking a bunch of settlers from Pittsburgh and following them all the way here to Appalachia? I guess I just don't understand their goal, why they were doing this, what they were trying to accomplish. But whatever the reason, they're here now, and it looks like they're willing to help us, and we can use their expertise. The bunker is pretty small. In the basement, we find a power armor workstation and more scrap laid about. But we are on a mission. To get through the turrets, Fields, Thompson, and Radcliffe need Robco technology stored away inside the Robco Research Center. We came here earlier during the quest to find some Robobrain parts for Hornwright. Now, we get to enter the facility proper. Upon heading through the front door, we find Radcliffe waiting for us, leaning against some railings.
Hey, you're not dead. I owe Thompson a cold one. Remember, we're looking for military research projects. General rule, they keep the good stuff in the back. This place gives me the creeps. Ugh. Desk jobs.
Now, the Robco Research Center has a minor role in a few other quests, but it's chock full of pre-war lore that really doesn't pertain to any of the quests we have to do here. It's a sprawling complex with a variety of terminals, notes, and holotapes, and so it deserves its own video dedicated to its lore, and so we'll skip all of that for now. However, to do this quest, we've got to explore its darkest recesses, and that means destroying every robot here. Once we enter the research wing, Radcliffe picks up a scent.
Here we go. Skunk works. Designs.
Once we open the doors to the research labs, Radcliffe spots an empty Robobrain chassis.
Look at that. Just needs a brain. A clarification, I'm not volunteering. Couldn't work my magic with those pincers anyway. They've probably got some brains in storage somewhere.
Nearby, we find a brand new terminal that wasn't here before Wastelanders, the Immobile Weapons Research Terminal. Semi-autonomous Immobile Weapons Platform Research. We find 2 entries in the first, "Good news, everyone." That was my best Farnsworth impression. I'm excited to announce that Robco has agreed to my proposal to preserve the entire research team's collective intelligence through the encephalon extraction program. You will each have your cranial cavity scooped out and your brain suspended in a biomedical solution that will keep your cognitive functions intact and ready to be used for several lifetimes. And to think, we'll even enjoy the benefits of leaving behind our accursed flesh and becoming a horrific synchronization of mind and metal. Ah, the future is looking up. Sounds like something Farnsworth would say. This entry has 2 sub-entries. In the first, brain replacement procedure. But before we can read it, Radcliffe decides to chat.
The entire research team jarred their brains? Whoa, I wonder how that went over. Good news for us though, right? Just need to get one of them up and running.
A preserved brain can be mounted on a functioning Robobrain chassis in order to resume any and all previous employee functions. Step 1. Pick the brain. Go to containment area and take a jar out of storage. Only one brain can be mounted in the chassis at a time. The wiring is permanent, so choose carefully. Step 2. Cook the brain. The preservation process isn't perfect. Contamination can build up in the biomedical gel mixture, requiring a little sizzling to reactivate the tissue. Our expert technicians can help you through this to avoid any damage. Step 3. Plate the brain. You'll need to pick up a dome from storage and mount it on the Robobrain chassis. Then carefully pour the contents of the brain jar into the dome and attach the brain stem to the neural motivator port. Easy. Oh, easy. Looks like we gotta cook some brains. In the last one, we can try to lodge complaint with management. Error. Complaint report database has been overloaded with traffic. Please file a physical complaint form in Human Resources before end of day. Backing out of good news, everyone, we can explore the final option, turret changelog. And it's here we learn that, sure enough, Robco was in charge of making turrets in the Fallout universe, at least the ones that were used in vaults, or at least in Vault 79. We see that the latest version of the turrets is version 1.5, but we'll start on the second page, which is at the beginning of the changelog. Version 1.0, updated software link for armored personnel. Version 1.01, ballistic shielding version 1. Version 1.02, bug fixes for power armor HUD, fixes floaty immersive reticle, internal temperature regulation. Is that one supposed to be an inside joke? Did the power armor HUD have a problem with a floaty reticle? Version 1.03, ballistic shielding version 1.1, reflective panels version 1.0, updated sentry handshake protocol. Version 1.04, ballistic shielding version 1.2, reflective panels version 1.1, bug fixes for temperature regulation. And the final upgrade for turrets before the end of the world was version 1.05, which included ballistic shielding version 1.3, reflective panels version 1.2, increased RPM, and can use armor-piercing incendiary or explosive rounds in addition to standard ammunition. Oh great, it was the final upgrade that birthed explosive turrets into the universe. Wonderful, Robco. Next to the terminal, lying on a printer, we find a prepared transcript. Transcript prepared by Nico M., Human Resources. Robco experimental turret for government contract 00A4KO10. Burst test number 37. Attending head researcher Dr. Dorothea Diaz, designer Greg Goldstein, and intern Gina Bailey. Pursuant to complaint 0106 against Dr. Dorothea Diaz. Dr. Diaz, this is absurd. The designs are flawless. We just need to find the flaws in the physical components or how Greg put them together. This shouldn't be hard, people. Greg Goldstein, we did find a bug in the design though, remember? The power overload issue? Gina, you sent that report to Dr. Diaz, right? Gina Bailey, yeah, I sent Dr. Diaz the bug I found. She closed it out as known shippable. I sent the confirmation to you. You said that she was probably right, Greg. Greg says, oh, well, that... Commencing the test, says Dr. Diaz. And Greg says, nothing happened. Oh, maybe? No, Audio and turret log indicate turrets begin firing. And then Dr. Diaz says, yes, excellent. But Greg says, oh, God, I was nearly shot. And Diaz says, you are fine. Shut up. You're behind the ballistic glass now, you idiot. What kept it from firing? Some muck-up from one of you again? Gina, what happened? It was unplugged, says Gina. Okay, says Diaz, test complete. Let's get moving. I have work to do, people. Make sure you actually plug it in next time, please. Next. We get a very vivid picture of the different personalities of the three people involved in the Robco experimental turret. Dr. Diaz, Greg, and Gina. We see the Robobrain chassis that Radcliffe was talking about. It appears to be hitched to a workbench right now. If we try to activate it, this Robobrain is incomplete. The head dome and brains are missing. So we need information on how to disable the turrets that are inside Vault 79. The turrets were made here. The scientists who made those turrets are likely all dead, but as we learned from this terminal, their brains may have been preserved in jars. So find the brains of the scientists, put them in a Robobrain body, bring them to life, they can make us the tools we need to disable the turrets. Plot. Gotcha. We can start by trying to find a brain, and that takes us to Robobrain R&D. As soon as we enter, Radcliffe has a thought.
So, whose brain do we nab? The person in charge will be an obvious pick, but speaking as an old boot on the ground, it never hurts to look 1 or 2 rungs down the ladder.
Well, as we learned from the terminal, some Robco employees' brains were stored in jars. And we see the jars against the wall here, though one is broken. But we can't interact with any of these, which means we've got to find some brains. On a workbench in this room next to a power armor station, we find a holotape, but it's related to some of the pre-Wastelanders lore, so we'll skip it for now. But here we also find Dr. Dia's brain in a jar. If we try to take it, the label reads, Dr. Dorothy Diaz, head of Immobile Weapons Research. Intelligence of 8+ is required to learn about this brain. We can take the brain, leave the brain, or examine the brain thoroughly. If we don't have 8+ intelligence, we simply realize that, yep, it's definitely a brain. However, if we have greater than 8 intelligence and we examine the brain thoroughly, we notice that there's an unusual patterning in the frontal lobe. The discoloration around the area of the pineal gland also gives us pause. Dr. Diaz might have an unstable personality. Yes, well, we gathered as much by reading the transcript from the printer. Hers might not be the best brain to choose. However, we find more options. Turning around and moving west, we find a storage room, and in here we find Gina's brain, the intern. The label reads, Gina. Oh, poor Gina. An intelligence of 8+ is required to learn more about this brain. We can take the brain, leave the brain, or examine the brain thoroughly. But if we examine the brain with 8 or greater intelligence, we learn that if it's possible for a brain to radiate sadness, this one does. The folding of the cerebral cortex is quite complex, however. Alright, so Gina here is a brainiac, but a depressed brainiac? To find our final option, we can turn south and through into the next room. Here we find Greg's brain in a jar on the desk. The label reads, Greg Goldstein, engineer, Immobile Weapons Research. And just like the last two, we can leave the brain, take the brain, or examine the brain thoroughly. If we don't have high enough intelligence, we learn that it's a brain. Anything else is beyond us. However, if our intelligence is high enough, we learn that Greg's is a truly unremarkable brain. In the best possible sense. Assuming the extraction process didn't traumatize him, Greg Goldstein should be a perfectly normal mind to talk to. So Greg is normal, but unremarkable. Well, what kind of brain do we want for our Robobrain? A depressed genius? An unstable project leader? Or an unremarkable normal guy? We learned from Frankenstein's monster that man shouldn't tinker with unstable brains. Since I only have 2 characters, I'm only able to show you 2 of these outcomes. Once we choose a brain, we can move to the Robobrain assembly room, whereupon Radcliffe has more thoughts.
Is that a stovetop? It looks like a stovetop. You sure we're not sous chefs in some kind of weird zombie cooking show pilot? Normally, I'm all about randomly fiddling the dials, but considering this brain is a limited resource, we better find some instructions first.
So this is how we cook up the brain. Just ahead of us against the wall, we find the stovetop. And on the countertop right next to it, we find instructions. As Radcliffe hinted, we might. We can read the quickly scrawled note.
They were smart enough to write the settings down at least. Shouldn't be too hard to figure out which number goes where.
Set it to 7, just neutral, like pure water. The brain is happy. Oh. Okay, so we set it to 7. Moving over to the stove, we can activate it and choose any of the brains in our inventory. But it's here I realized that we didn't have all the information. We find 4 valves: start, pH, temperature, and time. Activating pH, we can go ahead and choose 7. The note we just read said just neutral like pure water. That's a pH of 7. If we try to cook the brain without finding the other instructions...
Sounds like we tripped a failsafe. Guess that wasn't the right setting. Try again?
Oh, alright, so we could just figure this out via a process of elimination. But exploring the rest of this room, we find more clues. On a nearby desk, we find another quickly scrawled note. Look, for the last time, set the brains to 41 and no higher. You don't want to burst them. That sounds like temperature. And then on another desk, the same desk that has Betsy Spinelli's holotape inside, which gives us backstory for the Playtime Daily Quest, we find the last quickly scrawled note. Since you always burn the popcorn, this should be set to just 3. I don't want to smell burned brain again. Now we know what to set the timer to, so heading back to the stove, we can set temperature to 41 degrees Celsius, and then the timer to 3. When ready, we can twist start.
All right, look at you, the Chef Supreme of Brains, Chef Brainard. Chef de Brainzine. That's all I got.
Chef Brainard? Does that mean that Chef Boyardee is a canonical real food in the Fallout universe? Why don't we find any Chef Boyardee anywhere? Sufficiently cooking the brain triggers a respawn of all of the robots in this room, so we gotta fight them all again. Now, the instructions we read on the terminal say we now need a dome for the Robobrain, and we find one while exploring the director's office. Inside we find... Radcliffe has a knack of picking the perfect moments to chat, right when I can't hear him, like in the middle of a gunfight. Here's what that sounded like on my other character.
You think when we wake this research person up, they'll be... Well, what I mean to say is, if I woke up and my mind was in a fishbowl and my beautiful body was suddenly a trash can on treads, I might freak out a little bit.
After clearing the room, we can loot an end-of-dungeon steamer trunk, and on the desk, we find the Robobrain head dome. We now have everything we need. Heading back to the research labs, we can go to the chassis and add the brain we cooked. The Robobrain wakes up. If we used Gina's brain...
No! You can't bring me back. I got away. Why are you doing this?
Sorry, I need your help. This'll only take a moment, I promise.
Okay. What do you need my help with? I'm awful at everything. Just ask anyone.
I need your help to find a way to bypass the experimental turrets.
You mean the turrets Dr. Diaz made? Oh, I filed a bug report for something ages ago that she never got around to fixing. I can fabricate some tools that will bring them down so fast they won't know what hit them. Wow, my robot body doesn't seem to experience pain. That's different. I can't feel anything, actually.
Yeah, there's a bright side to everything, right? How about those tools?
Or if we added Greg Goldstein's brain...
Oh no, oh god. I knew that overtime clause in my contract was a mistake. I don't remember you from the research team.
I'm not actually on the research team. I don't even work at this company.
I can't be seen with someone who doesn't have the correct access for this level. No. Oh god, they're gonna put my brain in a jar for this if they find out we were here together. And you shouldn't be here, but you are. Oh god, oh god.
This isn't overtime. This is hell. Welcome, right this way. We've been expecting you.
Never ends. Never. If I have to tear down those turrets for Dr. Diaz one more time, I will explode! I will actually explode!
Or we could pass an intelligence check of 4 to say, Robco's gone, and the whole country's been bombed out of existence. You could just destroy this place after we leave. You're going to find a way to bypass the experimental turrets, or I am going to disassemble you.
Disassemble me? Oh, God! Wait, unless I what? Bypass the turrets? Well, why didn't you just say that's what you wanted? I'm happy to help. Overjoyed, even. The fabricators are over here. Follow me. Oh, you have no idea how many times we had to assemble and tear down the kill zone emplacement until Dr. Diaz was happy.
Hey, practice makes perfect.
No matter which option we choose, Greg or Gina or Diaz, the Robobrain will move to a nearby workbench against the northern wall. But just then, the room completely fills with robots.
And there.
When the robots are dead, the Robobrain we chose gives us a bit of his or her backstory.
I came into the office when the bombs were falling because I was scheduled. And I feared her more than the Great War.
Hey, man. So the tools? Can you get to making those tools?
Oh yeah, well, I can make it so the power just shuts down completely. Do you know how many times I had to rewire these turrets?
I do not know, but I sense you're going to...
She made us move them all over the office during testing. Every day was different.
Okay, so we're gonna hijack the command communication signals to just shut it down. No need to overcomplicate things, right?
Good. Easy is good. We like easy.
But then the room fills with robots again! And then we go back to the Robobrains again!
I guess that's it. If you don't need anything else, I'm gonna just sit here for a moment and contemplate my new existence.
All right. Feel better, maybe? Or just keep staring into the meaningless maw of existence. Gina? Oh, she's doing it. She's all in. Let's get out of here. Bye, Gina.
Move them to the coffee area. Move them to the hallway that leads to the bathroom. Make the whole break room a kill zone.
Let's grab the tools and go. I don't want to stick around in case this guy cracks. Or cracks more. I don't want to see his crack.
I bet her brain is stored somewhere. Might as well go destroy it. Or maybe... experiment on it. Yeah!
I thought Greg here was supposed to be the normal brain. I'm not getting normal vibes from Greg. Crazy nutjob. At any rate, when the Robobrain is done, we can loot the military spec Robco tools they've created for us and set to the side here.
Whew. Let's rendezvous back at the home base. This place is giving me the creeps.
Then Dr. Dia, Gina, or Greg will roll off someplace. Gina goes back to where we found her to contemplate her existence, and Greg just wanders all over the place, apparently looking for Dr. Dia's brain. Presumably that means that the office we found earlier was Dr. Dia's office, because he beelines straight here, and he sits down next to the wreckage of the Robobrain tactician we killed in this room earlier. But then he moves again and goes to the opposite side of the research center, and then just stares at a wall for a while. But then he's off. He keeps going. He's got to find Dr. Dia's brain. He moves to the elevator, opens it, and then just rolls away. Okay, I'm done with you now, Greg. Have a good life. With the tools in hand, we can head back to the Ransacked Bunker and check in with the soldiers.
Sergeant Radcliffe reports that you procured the tools we need. I'm impressed.
He followed my lead. I expect that from the rest of you.
As long as you don't try to lead us over a cliff, I don't see that being much of a problem.
We made a good team.
Interesting choice of words. You've been making a good team for some time now, haven't you? Paige, Dr. Hornwright, that hyperactive communist kid, and now us. You sure picked a strange team, but but you've shown that you can follow through. I'm convinced you'll actually pull this damn thing off. We'll be packing up and heading over to Foundation. No sense coordinating from two places. Eager to get this done, so let us know when.
With that, the soldiers get up to pack their things. We now need to head back to Foundation to see what the next step is. But sadly, I'm all out of time. We'll pick up right here where we leave off in my next video. I publish new videos every single week on my channel, so if you don't want to miss my next one, be sure to subscribe and to click that bell notification button. If you have already but you still feel like you're missing out on YouTube notifications, consider following me on Twitter at Oxhorn. I update Twitter manually with every new piece of content that I publish. I've got a shirt shop with completely unique designs that you can't find anywhere else. My designs come on shirts in a variety of men's, women's, and children's sizes, and in a wide array of colors. You can find them on other products as well, like smartphone cases, pillows, posters, mugs, stickers, prints, etc. So if interested, you can find a link to my shop in the description below, or you can click here. If you like what I do and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming a patron on Patreon or a member here on YouTube. YouTube members and patrons on Patreon are becoming increasingly important as YouTube continues to make platform changes that make the future of YouTube monetization uncertain. So to all of my YouTube members and my patrons on Patreon, you have my sincerest thanks. I couldn't do this without you. But more than anything, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon with more brand new videos.
Those Mothman cultists are creeps.
Maybe Ward has more drawing paper I can have.